In this video, I'm going to help you get your brand out into the world by showing you how to design your own business cards using Adobe Photoshop. Business cards are important. They are what represents your brand and represents you. And they should have vital information such as your logo, the name of your brand, an email address or a website, a phone number, and even an address, a physical address if you're expecting walk-in customers. A few key design points that you want to make sure your business card has is you want to make sure that it has your brand colors. You know, if your colors are red and blue, like if your logo is red and blue, you want to implement those colors into your business cards and or some complementing colors. The size of your business card, or the size in the US, the standard size is 3.5 inches by 2 inches. That's 3.5 wide and 2 inches high. So that's the size that you want to make your template when designing it in Photoshop. And that design is entirely up to you. You can get as creative and as crazy as you want, as long as it's not too crazy so that the design is too busy and people don't know what they're looking at. Your business card should be simple and to the point. When someone looks at it, they should be able to tell who you are, what you do, and how to reach you. And your business cards doesn't even have to be the standard size that I just outlined. You can have a square business card or even a circular business card or any random shape that you can think of, as long as your printer or your printers is able to print it and you'll be able to hand it out to your customers. So now that we've discussed all those important points, let's start designing. All right, so here we have Adobe Photoshop open, and you know how it goes. We just go ahead and hit create new. And then we're going to input our size. We want our business card to be in inches, and we want 3.5 wide, and we want 2 inches high, resolution 300 dpi, and we're not changing anything else. And let's go ahead and hit create. All right, here we are. This is our template, and this is what we're going to be working with. And the first thing I want to do is I just want to drag out some guides to, you know, keep my design uniformed, and that way nothing gets too close to the edge. Let me go ahead and just go to view, and then let me just go ahead and make a new guide layout. And here you can see they have some preset functions here, and this is giving me 2 columns and 2 rows. I also want a margin of 0.125 inches all around. So I'm just going to change the top left, bottom, and right margin to 0.125 inches, right? I'm just going to paste this all in here, and I already have my card divided, right? And that's a new guide layout. I'm just going to click OK. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and save this as LSPV 047. Ooh, what's wrong with caps lock is on. LSPV 047 biz card tutorial. All right, and then let's go ahead and click save, and then now we can continue with our designing. And for the purposes of this tutorial, I already have my logos that I'm going to use. I'm going to be designing 2 or 3 cards today. I already have my logos and all the different assets that I want to use in my designs. So as we use them, I'll just go ahead and just give you a quick rundown of why I'm using them and where I got them from. All right, so let's go ahead and continue. And the first thing I want to bring in for this first design is I want to bring in my logo. So let me go ahead and drag that in. And this logo you can get from my free downloads, and it's in my Photoshop logo tutorial video. We made 10 logos together and I gave them all away for free. So if you haven't seen that, check the link in the description where you can download those 10 logos in that Photoshop file completely free. And then I'm just going to size this down a little bit, about there. That looks okay. All right, Control and S to save. Okay, and the next thing I want to do is I want to just have a little rectangle out here. This first design is going to be pretty minimalistic and just black and white for the purposes of this tutorial. You guys can color your business cards obviously to match your brand colors, but for this one I'm just going to use black and white. All right, let me go ahead and hit U for my shape tool, and I'm looking for the rectangle tool. And I'm just going to draw out a rectangle by clicking here. All right, and I'm just going to, you see this little dot right here, this little circle here. If I hold that, I can make the edges curved, right? Or I could have come over here to my properties tab and just adjust the value that I want right here, and it would apply that to every corner of my design, right? Just zoom back out and see that, just like that. And I want it to be about there, right? And let me double click this rectangle and change it to black. All right, and let me just go ahead and change my logo, but first let me bring it up in the layers and just double click on it and just add a color overlay effect to get it white, because right now it's black just as the rectangle is black, so that's why you're not seeing it. Color overlay, and see that it's already white and it's already visible. So let's just go ahead and click OK, right? And that's all I want for the back or the front of this card. Whichever side you want to consider it as, I'm going to have two sides. This is going to be one side with just the logo, and the other side will have like information where people can reach me, right? So let me go ahead and just select the rectangle as well as this logo, and let me just go ahead and group them, Control and G, and let's name it front. And let me go ahead and put a white solid in here just by going down to my option there and just putting a white solid here, and then putting that behind the black rectangle, right? That way if I turn the background layer off, I still have my white background for my design, right? Control and S to save, and let me go ahead and try and make this full screen. All right, there we are. And then next I want to just go ahead and create another group for the back, but I want to just duplicate the rectangle that I have here by hitting Control and J, and then just bringing that outside of the group and then putting that in a new group. But let me just turn off the front layer, the front group, and let me just put that in a new group. Oops, I should have duplicated the color fill as well. Control and J, and then let me put both of those in another group, and let me name it back. I just double clicked on it and I can change the name that way. See, double click and I can change the name. And then what I want is, I don't want this to be like a full fill. I want it to just have an outline of the black right here, right? So let me go over to my properties tab, or I could come up top to my tool options tab here, and I can just click fill, turn that off, and I can go to stroke, select black, and about 5 pixel stroke. That's about good. That's as thick as I would want it. And then let me go ahead and Control and S to save, and then let me go ahead and hit T on my keyboard for my type tool, and then let me just type let me just type learn share, or first let me just write premium creative tutorials, right? Because that's what we do here at Learn Share. Let's make it a little bit bigger, and then let's make it black, and bring it in the center, and let's turn back on the outline. That's too close to the edge. Let me just shrink that down a bit by making the text a little bit smaller, about there. That's good, right? Control and S to save, and then let me duplicate this text layer by hitting Control and J, and then let me write at Learn Share Photo Video. My handle is really at Learn Share Photo, but if you search this, you'll still find me, right? Just for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm just going to write out the entire at Learn Share Photo Video. And then let's make this, let's not make it that thick. Let's do about medium. Or book, and then let's change this to book as well. And then what I want to do next is I want to bring in some logos for, you know, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. That's where people can find me, because this business card is just for my YouTube channel, so it's not a physical thing. So I can just give out and say, hey, you can find me here. at Learn Share Photo Video on all these platforms, right? And that's a good thing in having the same handle or the same username across all your social platforms, right? You can just have one link with the different logos and people will know what it means in today's world, right? That's pretty cool. Let me go ahead and bring in the logos that I mentioned earlier. And then let me just find them all here. Is this all of them? Let me just bring them, let me just bring them in. And I'm not gonna keep them colored, I'm just going to keep them like all black to match oops, that's the wrong YouTube one. There should be a black one. Let me just find that one. Here we have it, that's the right one. And then let me just size this down to match everything else. To about there. And now that I have the black YouTube logo, I'm just going to go ahead and delete the red one. And then let's see what we have. Make this bigger. Let's go ahead and make the Facebook one, or the Twitter one, sorry. Let's go ahead and make that the same size as the Instagram. Let's just size that up. I'm just making them all the same size from now, and then I can just all size them all down at the same time and they'll all be the same size, because we want to keep our designs uniform, right? And then for the YouTube, I already adjusted that one. Now I can just make them all the same size. See that? They're all being shrunk down at the same time. And then I want the YouTube one first because that's the most important platform for us here at Learn Share. And then Instagram, and then Twitter, and then I can just select where's the Facebook? Oh, it's right here. Let me just double click on the Facebook and then add a color overlay and change it to black. All right, and then I can select all of them and then just align the vertical centers, or sorry, distribute them all horizontally, and Photoshop will just like put the equal spaces between each icon, right? There we are. And let me just change the Twitter icon to black as well. Double clicking on it, going to color overlay, and then changing it to black. And see how the Instagram and the Facebook is a little bit taller than all of them. Let's just shrink down the Facebook and the Instagram just a little bit. That looks good. And you see how the YouTube is gray and not black. Let me just go ahead and hit Control Shift and A for Control Shift and A for my camera filter, and I'm just going to just increase or decrease the blacks, and that will make the gray black. See that? This slider right here. And then I'm clicking OK, and now the YouTube icon is black, right? And then let me just group all of these, Control and G, and then let me name it social icons, right? And then I can select all of them, but first let me size down the social icons by hitting Control and T. Okay, and then just size it down a little bit. About there is good, right? And then let's size down the font, the @Learn Share Photo, to be just as wide as the spread of the icons, right? That looks good, right? And then let me select the icons, the premium and the @ and let me just distribute the centers vertically. There we are. Maybe I want a little bit more space in between them. All right, let's select them all one more time. Go up top with our move tool selected, and then let's distribute them vertically. And then let's select all of them and just align them to the center of our template. Turn off the guides. That's pretty cool. Control and S to save. And this is all I'm doing for the first business card, right? So we have the back right there with the information on what we do, and then the front with the logo. Just that simple and minimalistic. We don't have to do anything else, because remember, we're not a physical space, right? We're just the online space, and you won't necessarily use these business cards as often, but you want to make sure that you always have them just in case you want to use them or you need to use them, right? So I'm really not going to go overboard with this design. What do you guys think? It's a pretty cool black and white design all around. I'm just going to go ahead and group them both, and then let me name it card 01. That's our first design, right? And then we're just going to do card 2 and so on. So each design you do, you want to make sure that you just group it, that way you can turn it off and see what you have, right? And your cards don't all have to be like horizontal or landscape orientation. You can do a vertical card using these same coordinates, right? So if I were to go Control and N to create a new template, I can just click the orientation button right here, and that would give me a 2-inch horizontal card with a 3.5-inch vertical measurement, right? See that? So it's kind of the opposite of what we just did. So let's go ahead and make our second card using this portrait or vertical orientation. So here's our template, and it's pretty much the opposite of what we just did. Let me go ahead and drag in the files that I want to use for this design, and I want to use this logo here and this background right here. I'm actually going to give this design a background, and then I just got this image from Google, just pretty straightforward, just for the purposes of this tutorial. All right, and then about there is good. Let's see what it looks like the other way. No, I like this better. Enter to place it, and then we have our logo right there. But let's move it up, and let's go ahead and create a new guide layout like we did earlier for that first template. Control and S to save before we go any further, and let's just name this LSPV, the same name like previously, but let's do vertical, right? Okay, and then obviously I'm going to have to do a color overlay to just change the color of my logo, or I could just reduce the opacity of this image to about 50 or so. That way I can still like see the black logo. And when you're designing it for a client, you may not always be able to change the color. What you can do is you can ask the client if they sent you a colored version of their logo, or if you have a colored version of your own logo, try and design or try and ask the client for a black version and or a white version, so that you can be more versatile in your design, right? But that's just a quick tip, and you may not always be able to do this. I mean, obviously if someone sends you their logo, you're not just going to change the color if that's not what they want, right? And so it's just for the purposes of this tutorial. I designed all these logos so I can pretty much do what I want, right? So let's just go ahead and reduce the background, the opacity of the background, to just keep the integrity of this black logo, right? Because if the client sends you this black logo, that's what you're going to have to use, right? All right, let's go ahead and continue. Let's make this a bit bigger, the logo a bit bigger, about there. Let's do a new guide layout, and then let's use the same layout like we had earlier, right? And then we can move the church logo up a bit to about there, and let's just start adding some text, right? And what I wanted to say is the pastor's name. Let's just say I'm the pastor for the purposes of this tutorial. Let's make it black. Let's make the logo a bit smaller because I don't want the logo to overshadow the name. And then let's bring it to about here. Chris James, pastor. And then let's make this like book. Let's make it smaller, the word pastor, right? Doesn't have to be that dominant. 1, 2, let's zoom in on this. And then we want it to also say like 1, 2, 3, 4. We want it to say like the information of this pastor, because like every team member or the team leaders of this church has a business card. So let's just go ahead and design it based on that principle. So the pastor's email is pastorchris@naz.church, right? Oops, church. naz.church. Control and J to duplicate that and drag it down. And the pastor's phone number is 123, area code 456 7890, right? And the church address is 1080p 1080p Google Drive internet way. Internet way. All right, and then the last thing I want to have here is like the church's actual website, right? Let's go ahead and do www.nas.church. The domain is the same as the email thing because it says nas.church right here. The website is nas.church, right? All right, so let's look at that. That looks good. That looks good. I really want to change this to white. Let me just go ahead and change everything to white. I really want to change it to white. I just love how the white looks. Let's just make the background brighter. I really love how the white looks. Let's change the logo as well. I couldn't help myself. Make it white. And then let's just draw a little line or a little rectangle. Just a little line to like separate this, right? Let's just drag it in the middle to just like separate the logo from the information, and just make it white and see what we have here. Let's make the image darker. That looks better to me. What do you guys think? Let's bring the information up closer to pastor, or is it fine as it is? Or let's make the info smaller then. Let's just make it a little too smaller. How's that? What do you guys think? 1, 2, 3, 5. That looks better to me. That looks better to me. What do you guys think? And let me just make a solid color of black behind this image. Let's make it black, put it behind the image, and then let's dip the opacity of the image a little bit more and see what we have. This looks better. I really like this. Turn the guides off, control and the semicolon, and I really like what we have here. Let me just group all of this information and just name the group info. Remember, I can change the name of the group by double clicking, and then let's click the info, the rectangle separator line, and the logo, and let's just distribute them vertically, right? See that? That looks good. And then let's select all of them, and then let's select all of them and just drag it down till we get the pink line across. See, this pink line across there is telling me, the horizontal pink line is telling me that my design is centered, right? All right, that looks good. That's all I want to do here for this design. The only thing I would change is to make the information, my information here, bold, like so it's not the same weight as the pastor. What do you guys think? I mean, it's not that terrible. It's not making or breaking the design. It's just like personal preference. What do you guys think? I really like it. I really like it. Should I make the pastor smaller? No, it's fine. What do you guys think? I really like it. It's pretty simple, modern, to the point, right? We're not overthinking it. When someone sees this, they immediately know what it is, right? Do I make the rectangle separator line smaller or no? What do you guys think? Let's just decrease the width. Let's see what it looks like. Let's see before and after. Control and Z to undo. Yes, I like it smaller. All right, that's good. Let's group everything, the logo, the separator line, and the information. Control and G. Oops, let's drag in the photo and the solid color, and let's rename this group card 02. The first one we did was card 01, right? And then let's control and S to save, and I think that's all we need. The pastor's email, the pastor's phone number, the address of the church, and the website of the church, right? That looks good to me. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? And of course, you know, you'd save all of these files in JPEG or PNG or PDF, whatever format your printers require, you'd save the file in that format, right? So let me just go ahead and save this so I can actually show you guys that. And I'm just going to hit Ctrl Shift and S to get this save as dialog box. Let's go down to save as type, and I'm just going to choose JPEG, right? Maximum quality, and then let me go ahead and select the previous design 01 card 1, and let's just open the group and turn the back off, and let's just save this as a JPEG, but let's just name this front, and then go down to save as type and change this to JPEG. So we're saving two files from this one design, right? Because we have the front design and the back design, obviously, right? And we're gonna save the back, Ctrl Shift and S for the save as window, and then let's name it back, right? JPEG. And there we have it. Now we're gonna go ahead and create another design, the same landscape orientation like the first design, this design here. So what I can do is I can just turn this off and drag in my other logo, and then we can just continue with our design, right? For this one, I'll use the actual Learn Share logo and just implement some colors into it, right? Let's go ahead and make it about 4. Turn our guys on. And then about there, that's good. Control and S to save. Control and G to group this, and let's name it card 03 because we already have card 1 here, right? And I'm not going to go too overboard here, maybe just a couple shapes to like give it a little design here on the edge with like the same at Learn Share Photo Video here, or maybe even the website URL, but same thing here as we did in the first design. But maybe I won't write premium creative tutorials, but maybe I'll write YouTube tutorials, right? Or graphic design tutorials on YouTube. So let me go ahead and just type that out before I forget. Graphic design tutorials. Oh, the font is white, sorry. Let's click up here on the tool options, and then let's pick a color. Let's make it the blue of the logo, right? Graphic design tutorials, and then let's Control and J to duplicate that, and then drag it down. Let's put the actual URL of the YouTube page, youtube.com/learnsharephotovideo. If you haven't told your friends yet, tell them to go check that link out. And then let's make it a little bit lighter than the graphic design tutorials, right? Let's size it down to about 3, not so much 4. What do you guys think? 5? That's fine, it works. And then let's duplicate that Control and J one more time, and that pink arrow there with the 0.047 inches. Wait, let me full screen this. See that where it says 0.047 inches? That's telling me that the same space between the graphic design and the youtube.com/ is the same space as the one below that, right? And then let's just write hosted by Cjam. Once again, my name is Cjam. You guys know the deal. And then you can also do that for your business card, right? To tell people who you are. Just like how we have the Naz Church business card just before this, we had the pastor's name, Chris James, in addition to the church's name. So Naz Church is the entity, but the person you're going to be connected with through this business card is Chris James, right? All right, so let's go ahead and do that right there. That looks good. Should I size that down? The hosted by, or is it fine? What do you guys think? It's fine, it's fine. Let's leave it like that. And then maybe let's move them over here to fit in this space here. Zoom in. Oops, what did I just do? Let's move it over. That looks good. Then let's move the logo over to right above that and centered. And then let's size down the logo. That looks good. And then let's move the text up closer to the logo, about there. And then let's move the logo up top in the layers. Let's group this name this group info, right, as we normally do, and then let's just center it in the design, right? See this pink line, that pink line that's running horizontally across the design is telling me that my group is centered horizontally in my design, right? Or is that vertically? But it's centered, that's what it's telling me. All right, and then now I just want to add some shapes over here. You guys know I love shapes. Let's go ahead and hit U on our keyboard for our shape tool, and then let's find our ellipse tool or circle tool, however you classify it. And the reason why I'm choosing circles here to go with the LearnShare logo is because the LearnShare logo naturally has curves in it. See the curves here for the S and the L under here. So, and the curve here under the photo video, and the dot between the photo and the video, the bullet point. So it's natural, the logo has natural curves and natural circles. So I'm just going to choose a circular shape rather than a square or a triangle, right? Just the design for logos, right? The aesthetic flows. All right, let me go ahead and click and drag out some circles. And I don't want it to be a fill, I want it to have a stroke. Well, I don't want it to have a stroke, but I want a outline. You guys know what I meant, right? And let's do a stroke of about 50. That should be good. Let's do about 35. That's fine. What do you guys think? Or do you prefer 50? Let's do 40. Somewhere in the middle, right? And let's duplicate this and do another one, and then let's change it to blue, the LearnShare blue, right? All right, that looks good. And what I want is I want to have the record button, you know, like we're recording video, and the play button, right? Because we're video creators here at LearnShare, you and me, right? And so let's do another ellipse, and let's hit U. Let's draw out a circle, and then let's go ahead and find our shape tool once more, pressing U. And then let's click and hold it to navigate to the triangle tool, and then let's just drag out a triangle to about here, something that resembles a play button, and then let's rotate it. And see this little line right here, sorry, this little circle right here on the triangle is telling me that where is it? Where is it? It was just there. Hold on. Let me turn all these off. This little triangle, this little dot right here is telling me that I can click and pull the edges, and it will just make the edges curve instead of pointy, right? And that's what I want, because remember, the LearnShare logo, the aesthetic of the logo has natural curves and circles, so I don't want it too pointy in my complementing shapes, right? All right, let's go ahead and see what else we have here. Where are the two big circles? There, right here. And let's go ahead and make one of them bigger than the other. Let's make the orange one bigger by hitting Control and T for our transform options. It's making it go there till it's centered, right? To about there. Let's move the blue one over to about where should I bring it? That looks good. Let's bring it back some more, and then maybe not so much. And then the play button, maybe I should change the play button to blue. Let's bring it up in the layers and change it to blue by double clicking and picking on the blue. Is that straight? Control and T. Oh yeah, it's straight. It just looks off. Let's make it bigger. Oops, hold on. Control and T and just drag out a corner. Depending on what version of Photoshop you're using, you may have to hold Shift when you're dragging out one of the corners, or else you'll just like distort the shape like that. Let's pull it back to about there, and then let's bring the record button back down and to about here as well. And I want the record and the play to overlap. And then let's make the big circles, big outlines. Let's make them overlap as well, right? To about there. What do you guys think? Let's put the triangle behind the record button. That looks good. Let's move it forward a bit, and then let's make them both bigger. Selecting both of them, Control and T, and just sizing them up, right? And then let's move the bigger circles out some more. All right, that looks pretty cool. I won't do anything more to this. Not gonna get too crazy. Let me see what we have here. Turn on our guides, Control and the semicolon, and I think we can move the information over to the left a bit. But first, let me move or group all of my shapes. Let me just name it shapes, and then let me just drag it out some, right? And maybe I can make the Learn Share logo a little bit smaller. That way it's not competing with my with my shapes. Alright, and let's move it up to about there. Shapes, let's bring the shapes back out. Let's bring the Learn Share logo over some more to about there. That's good. Let's bring back the shapes over to the left some more, right? That way they're not they're not really competing. Let's make the Learn Share logo a bit bigger. Turn the guides on, and that's about good. That is about good. Control and S to save. And that's where I'm definitely going to leave this one, right? A decent complementing design with meaning to go with the Learn Share logo. And I already have the information here. Graphic design tutorials, youtube.com/Learn Share photo video, hosted by the host, right? So pretty straightforward, to the point. You don't need anything else, right? I don't need a phone number there because people are not like reaching out to me through my phone. It's mainly just through the YouTube channel. If I wanted, I can put my website here, but for the purposes of this particular card right here, card 3, it's just about the YouTube channel, right? So let's go ahead and hit Control, Shift, and S to save it as a JPEG, right? Let's name it card 03, and then go down to save as type, and then JPEG. All right, and now we can look at all 3 cards that we designed, right? Open it here. This is our first card. What do you guys think? Is this the front or the back? It doesn't matter, but this is the part with the information, right? And then you can see the premium creative tutorials, because we're striving to make the best tutorials possible, right? All the handles, all the social icons with the handle, because they're all the same. And then the logo on the back, pretty cool, like flip side for the back, right? You know how we had the sand photo for the card 2 with the vertical design? You can put another photo here on this in the black area here if you want, just to give it a little bit of texture, or you can just use like a pattern, right? A graphic pattern. But for the purposes of this tutorial, it's just simplicity and minimalism, right? And then the Naz Church, which I really like, Chris James pastor, the pastor's information and the church's address and website. What do you guys think? I love this sand image here. And then we have the Learn Share business card, graphic design tutorials on YouTube, because that's what we do, even though we do more here. But for the purposes of this tutorial, what do you guys think? Which one is your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. And the last thing we're going to be doing here today is we're going to be putting one of these designs onto a mock-up to like put it in our portfolio to show that, hey, we do business cards, and this is what my business card would look like. Or you're telling your potential customers that this is what your business card could look like if you make me design it, or if you hire me to design it. And a mock-up is just a pretty cool way to present your designed product, right? So we're going to use a mock-up, and this mock-up that I'm going to use, I got it from Envato Elements, and this video is not sponsored, but you guys know that I use Envato, and they have a host of cool graphic templates on there that you can use for stuff like this, to like build out your portfolio or build a portfolio and present to people that, hey, you can do this, this is what your design could look like, so hire me. And if you guys aren't aware of what Envato is, I did an entire walkthrough video like showing what it is and what they have to offer. I'll link that in the description or somewhere up here on the YouTube card. And if you guys subscribe to Envato, or if you want to subscribe, there is a link to get 70% off a 1-month subscription, or if you subscribe for a year, you get 70% off that first month out of that entire year, right? So check the link in the description for that link to Envato's website. So let's go ahead and open the mockup, and then let's load it in our design and see what it looks like. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to look in the layers and see where or what we have to change to implement our own design. And this is what we have to change right here. Side 1 and side 2, you can see it says right here, side 1 and side 2, right? And if you double click on side 1, you can just bring in one of your own designs, right? If I were to bring in this particular one right here, let me just size it up. I don't know why this is so big. It shouldn't be that big, but maybe the template is for, or the mockup template is for a different size business card. But same principle, you just bring your business card design in, you fill the template, and then you exit it, and there it is, right? Pretty cool, right? What do you guys think? If I had a side 2 or a back to this design, I could load it right here, but for the purposes of this one, let me go ahead and just duplicate the one that I just did just now, right? That way we don't have to worry about it, but you guys get the picture, right? Pretty straightforward and to the point. We're just presenting our business card in the best way possible. And what do you guys think? You can even like change the background colors. You can go so in depth with mock-ups, but here we have it. What do you guys think? This is so cool, seeing your design like this. Can you imagine showing this to your client, and they're just like seeing their design like this, seeing their business card like this, and what it can possibly look like? This is so cool. I love this. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Here is my question of the day. Are you looking, or are you needing your business cards to put your brand out there in the world? And after all that we've designed today, how confident are you to get started in designing your own business cards and getting more confident and say, hey, this is me, here's my brand, this is what I do, take my card? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, my name is Cjam, and I will see you guys in the next video.